Hey MCE crew, cryptocurrency was never going to be allowed to replace or even compete with the major currencies of the world, specifically the reserve currency of the globe, the US dollar, or any of these sovereign currencies from any of these big G7 nations. It was never going to happen. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm saying that. We've got proof out there that I don't know how many people are paying attention to this, but we're going to go over it. And I'm going to let you know also that, hey, look, if you're speculating in Bitcoin or any of these cryptos and you've made money, more power to you. I'm not saying that these cryptos aren't worthy of speculative types of moves. And they obviously are. A lot of people have made a lot of money and a lot of people have lost a lot of money, to be fair. But I'm going to show you why. The government, I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to show you what they're doing to curtail crypto and minimize its power to actually provide you with economic freedom. Now, the reason they're doing this can be seen clearly with this whole thing going on up in Canada with the truckers and that whole blockade. Go Fraud Me, the place, GoFundMe, where you donate. I'm only going to say GoFundMe those 2 times. That's it, because from now on, they are Go Fraud Me. I would not touch that company with a 10-foot pole in any way, shape, or form. Certainly, it would not. If somebody said, hey, I'm doing this fundraiser, and they set it up through that company, I'm sorry. I got to find another way to donate to you if I'm so inclined to donate, because would never deal with them. Okay, they broadcasted publicly that they were going to commit an act of fraud, all right? And they put this in a press release and just put it out there to the world that funds donated to these truckers that are protesting up in Canada, they didn't like the protest, so they were going to divert the funds from where people, had the intent to donate them to charities of their choice. That's called fraud. You can't do that. All right. And they backed off of it. But the fact that nobody in their C-suite, their executive ranks, before that memo went out, before that press release went out, said, this is a bad idea. That's very disturbing. Okay. So what those truckers, what these people that wanted to donate, what they've done is they have turned to cryptocurrency in order to bypass these banks. But the governments of the world are getting wind of that. They don't like that independence. And so they're moving in for the kill to basically resign crypto to sort of a speculative type of vehicle. And sure, you might be able to buy certain things with it, but you can best believe that it's going to come under the rubric of what your dollars and any of your other investments come under, and that is tight government control. And here is why. Here's one of the reasons why. Canada's TD Bank says it plans to surrender approximately $1 million in unrefunded GoFundMe donations, GoFraudMe donations, to the Freedom Convoy, as well as some $400,000 the group had accepted through direct donations. Okay, it goes on. This article goes on to say, this is a quote from a spokesman at TD, Carla Hindman. She says TD has asked the court to accept the funds, which were raised through crowdfunding and deposited into personal accounts at TD. Ostensibly, these accounts belong to people that are, orchestrating the protest and trying to manage getting these funds out to truckers so they can buy food, fuel, etc., so that they can maintain the peaceful protest. Now, I know that a lot, the go-to for any leftist action is racism. Notice, everything's racist, okay? If they want to come out against something, they sing one tune. They're a one-trick pony. Racism, all right? which I have a problem with because racism does exist in the world. But when everything is racism, people become desensitized to it, and eventually nothing is racism. All right, so they always trot that out, and it's disgusting. And the really weird part about this is that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, this individual, he's appeared in not just blackface, okay? This idiot has covered his body in black paint, and he's got the nerve to call someone racist? Okay, this is Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, doing this stuff, all right? And this guy's talking about racism. Let me continue. So they've asked that those funds be accepted into those TD accounts so they may be managed and distributed in accordance with the intentions of the donors and or to be returned to the donors who have requested refunds. Now, you might say, oh, well, Tyrone, that's a positive development. They're getting the money. And that's true. Okay, it looks like they are freeing some of this money up. But we're going to look at something in just a second that's going to give you a little pause. So, convoy lawyer Kevin Wilson said that the group planned to fight to retrieve any money they had raised and could be seen in a video promoting the group's next play, a cryptocurrency fundraiser that has raised almost $1 million. We will be taking expedited legal steps to have the restrictions on donated funds listed as soon as possible. The principal philosophy of what Bitcoin is freedom, says one organizer in a Facebook video. For everyone who had their voice stolen by GoFraudMe, you should feel solace that now there are alternatives. Now, this is where the government's eyebrows go up and say, we don't have control, complete control over Bitcoin right now, but they're working hard to gain it. We'll see in a minute. According to the Globe and Mail, more than $500,000 has been raised in one Bitcoin wallet. TD's move is the latest hurdle faced by the convoy, which has occupied Ottawa and other border crossings for approximately 2 weeks to protest mandates regarding you-know-what. They've also got another site that they're donating to called Give, Send, Go. But this crypto play is immediately going to be countered, and they're going to look at these guys might get that money, but in the future, if there is some type of action that the people want to participate in and the government doesn't like it, check this out. The International Monetary Fund favors central bank digital currencies over crypto, according to managing director. Of course, the IMF is going to say that because the IMF is plugged into the power structure and they understand part of the Great Reset is to exercise more control over the lives of individual so-called sovereign citizens via their wallets. We already saw that when they came out and said you must do a certain thing with regard to a medication or you will not work, okay? Again, all of this goes back to what we're always preaching here is to become financially independent. However you can, as soon as you can. Well, not however you can. I don't want to see you do anything illegal. But within the bounds of the law, as soon as you can. Because your government recently told you that they don't care whether or not you eat. You just better do what they say. And we see this same type of creeping control starting to be exercised over Bitcoin. All right. Now, we saw in a video we did a while back with Saul Amrova, the woman that was proposed to be the comptroller of the currency. And she said flat out, I want a system whereby if we need to, we can prevent Americans from spending money. Think it's a game? China already has their social credit score linked to what funds will be made available to you, where you can live, where you can travel. All right. So you don't think the United States government is looking at that and the Canadian government is looking at that and just salivating? Australia They went from being a so-called Western democracy to, good Lord, you probably have more freedom in Cuba right now than you do in Australia. They've reverted to their roots, a prison colony. And, you know, I know we have some viewers down there in Australia, but I'm going to tell it like it is. If we have viewers and subscribers in Australia, then they're freedom-minded viewers. If you took the time to subscribe to this channel, you know what it's all about. So we saw earlier how crypto was controlled, and everybody thought it was so free. And, you know, the people that put the ransom out for that pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline. Remember back when that was a big deal, and some people held the Colonial Pipeline for ransom. You know what? They said, we want Bitcoin because it's untraceable. Psh, right. The Department of Justice on June 7th of last year, shortly after that whole thing went down, they got that money back. They traced it, they seized it, they got it back. And then they formed the Ransomware and Digital Extortion Task Force. So the government has a lot of resources because, you know, it can just print up money, doesn't care. You know, the government has this thing where they can print up as much money as they want. We just crossed the $30 trillion threshold, which is low because we're not counting the unfunded liabilities, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. But you know, you've got a credit score issued, and that controls your whole life. But I digress. So Bitcoin is not going to be allowed. It's never going to be allowed to supplant this U.S. currency, okay, or whatever they come up with next. The IMF is talking about central bank digital currencies, which will, you know, they won't even have to print the paper at that point or the coins. It'll be just a free-for-all. But that's the direction that they're moving into, and it's not going to be stopped. So you're saying, okay, what can I do? How can I have more control over my money? Well, for one thing, you can start acquiring money. And we talked about this ad nauseum. You look into gold, assets that appreciate, good companies that you've done your due diligence on and invested in, real estate, okay? There are, we talk about this stuff all the time on the channel, a business that you own, all right, well run, well managed in an industry that actually is, you know, a viable industry. Don't try to come up and reinvent the wheel. Don't try to create the next Tesla. You know, the revolutions like that come along every 100 years. Get into a business where there obviously is a need, okay, where there's a demonstrated client base. This is why you see gas stations right across the street from one another. This is why you see McDonald's and Burger King within a half mile of one another in many instances. It's because there's enough, you know, viability there to have people coming in and spending money. So businesses, real estate, quality companies in terms of stocks and bonds, insurance policies. People sleep on insurance policies. I'd rather invest my money with an insurance company than with a bank, okay, in terms of a savings account. Now, you invest in a bank, now you own it, okay? You're a part owner, and you're on the other side of the equation, which is a positive place to be, all right? So just beware when we're talking about crypto. Understand that the government is not just the United States government, but the international monetary apparatus is not going to just cede control and abdicate power to Bitcoin. And if you believe that, then, hey, just wait a while. You'll see. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. To learn more about how you can achieve financial independence, check out these videos we recently posted on the Money Changes Everything channel.